How did three guys flip social media on its head and create one of the most unique platforms out there? Pinterest has an amazing story, and you wouldn't believe how much the company is worth today. And although it's a publicly traded company with over 320 million monthly users, it's struggled to make money since its inception. We'll explain why. Join us as we break down the complete story behind Pinterest, how it started, why it became so popular, and what its future looks like. Pinterest describes itself as a visual discovery engine for finding ideas like recipes, home and style inspiration, and more. This means that it's not just a social platform, but a visual search engine. Users can share and discover images based on their interests and add them to collections. This is known as pinning, and the collections are known as boards. So why was Pinterest started? Ben Silbermann, Paul Sciarra, and Evan Sharp created Pinterest with the idea of establishing a platform that everyone could use and understand instantly, whether they were tech junkies or not. Pinterest is unique because it emphasizes sharing what users like, unlike other social media platforms that focus on sharing updates about ourselves.
And it's a service that's a little bit different than a lot of the other online services because it's about you. It's about your interests, your aspirations, your future. It's not as much about keeping up with your friends or following celebrities or reading the news.
The foundations for Pinterest were laid in 2006 when Sciarra left his job at a New York venture capital firm and joined hands with Silbermann, formerly of Google, to create an app development company called Cold Brew Labs. They developed a shopping comparison website called Tote, where users could browse through apparel by 30 or so different retailers, save them as favorites, and find deals with reduced prices. Even though Cold Brew managed to get funding for Tote, the app did not succeed for two reasons. First, people weren't using mobile apps for shopping yet. And second, Apple's App Store was too slow to support the frequent version updates businesses like theirs made. However, the one good thing that came out of Tote was that Silbermann and Sciarra realized how popular their favorites feature was with their customer base. They discovered that their users were collecting the items they liked and sending images of them to themselves, and that is where the idea for Pinterest started taking form. The two immediately began developing a prototype and were joined by Evan Sharp, a product designer for Facebook. Sharp is credited with coding most of the website and developing the visual language for Pinterest that we are all so familiar with today. The three of them then started pitching their developed prototype to venture capitalists to receive funding for their visual collection app. And while the three would develop the app, Silbermann's girlfriend came up with the name, sharing it over Thanksgiving dinner in 2009. With their first batch of beta testers, Pinterest targeted homemakers living in America, giving them a good way to pass their time. So while platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram used extreme marketing tactics and celebrity ambassadors to promote themselves, Pinterest targeted a demographic usually ignored by everyone else. And while that was a risky move, it ultimately paid off in the end. When Pinterest officially launched in 2010, the landscape of social media was in a major shift. Pinterest's direct competition was Facebook, a platform that already had more than 300 million users when Pinterest was launched. Even Twitter had about 20 million users. The first few months were challenging for Pinterest. The app was working on an invite-only model with beta users. And while that usually sparks a lot of attention towards things, the idea just wasn't working for Pinterest. 9 months after Pinterest went into open beta, the site had fewer than 10,000 users. Silbermann contacted roughly half these users personally and gave them his cell number with an invitation to call him anytime, day or night. Silbermann reportedly remained in touch with many of those 5,000 users for several years to help build Pinterest a loyal customer base. And this was enough for investors to believe in the potential for the platform. Eventbrite CEO Kevin Hartz joined the round as an angel investor. Hartz is a PayPal veteran, and his involvement exposed Pinterest to one of Silicon Valley's most influential investor networks. However, the big break for the company didn't come until March 2011, when the Pinterest app was launched on the Apple App Store, helping the company pass the 1 million user mark by July of that year. The next breakthrough came a few months later, when Time magazine featured Pinterest in a roundup of their 50 best websites. By the end of the year, Pinterest had grown into one of the biggest social media platforms in the world, generating more than 11 million new visits every single week, leading TechCrunch to declare Pinterest as the best new startup of 2011. By August 2012, Pinterest had over 20 million users pinning items and creating boards every single day. Pinterest experienced a surge from 2013. By the spring of 2014, Pinterest users had pinned more than 30 billion images, almost half of which had been pinned only during the last 6 months. Pinterest started utilizing user data to target ads based on user interests and searches, and other demographics, helping them develop their product even more. Pinterest passed the 100 million user mark in 2015, and continued to see steady growth while maintaining a loyal fanbase. The pandemic fueled its growth in 2020, adding 100 million new users for a total of 454 million users in Q3 2021, putting it ahead of platforms such as Reddit, Twitter, and Quora. One very important point for potential investors is that Pinterest's user base is diverse, with women making up more than 60% of its platform's global audience. It's also a great way to reach millennial shoppers that use Pinterest as a product discovery engine, with 35 to 49-year-olds making the largest user base, and Gen Z being the second biggest bracket. Want to make stunning landing pages in minutes? With Wishpon's drag-and-drop editor, you can quickly build landing pages that are optimized for mobile. But that's not all. You also get a dedicated marketing team to help design your campaigns and increase your leads. Click the link in the description to learn more about our all-in-one marketing platform. Let's talk numbers for a second. In total, Pinterest has raised $1.5 billion in funding over 23 rounds, bringing its valuation to $12.3 billion by June 2017. 2 years later, in 2019, the company went public and is listed on the New York Stock Exchange with a market capitalization of $31.82 billion. So how does Pinterest make money? As far as their business model is concerned, Pinterest mainly makes money through ads and promoted pins, where users pay to have their pins or boards featured on the app. Pinterest also went back to its roots and allowed users to purchase specific items straight from the app. Even though Pinterest is such a popular platform, it's still struggling to generate a profit. In 2020, Pinterest saw a 128 million net loss, compared to an almost 1.4 billion net loss in 2019, which for investors can be a positive sign on the road to profitability for the company. What's more important, Pinterest's Q3 revenue grew 43% year over year to $633 million, posting a net income of $94 million, up from a net loss of $94 million the previous year, which can be attributed to increased demand from large retail advertisers, as well as growth in its international business. So, with stable growth rates like these, why is Pinterest struggling to generate a significant profit from its millions of users? Well, first of all, the company has still not managed to roll out an effective monetization strategy yet, putting it at a massive disadvantage compared to other social media platforms, all of which are generating revenue in one way or another. While promoted and shoppable pins are revenue generators, the reason why Pinterest has failed to utilize them to their full potential is the fact that they were rolled out too late and too slow, causing users to start leaving the platform for something better. Another reason why Pinterest struggled initially was that many advertisers were reluctant to reallocate their budgets from the proven success of Facebook to Pinterest's cheaper, yet largely untested, promoted pins. A final issue is that the company's technology is lagging. For example, while Pinterest launched video support and built a native video player in 2016, Facebook had already been using video ads and seeing strong revenue growth for 2 years. Pinterest continues to expand its ads platform to new locations, but currently is only available in 29 countries. It has, however, launched new features such as story pins and Pinterest Shopping, which offers new opportunities for users to find products to pin or purchase, indicating its commitment to e-commerce. For Silberman though, the focus is not on turning a short-term profit, but on allowing Pinterest to grow to its full potential, which he explained in an interview with CNBC's Jim Cramer after the company's first quarter report as a public company.
We're definitely in the growth phase of our business. We've tried to be very transparent and clear. And the reason that we think about being in the growth phase is we think we're really early on in our journey. We're early on here in the United States, where we're working with retail and CPG companies, but we want to expand to small and medium-sized businesses. And we're super early internationally, where 2/3 of our users are.
Emerging from a pivot and after a slow start, Pinterest has grown into one of the largest social platforms. While its IPO was a good move, having almost tripled its valuation, Pinterest's slow and steady approach to growth means it lags behind other platforms when it comes to monetization. While it has invested in the technology to enable monetization, it remains to be seen whether consumers and brands will use them, considering other platforms have already integrated e-commerce. That's it for our breakdown of Pinterest. What do you think of this unique social platform? Do you think they'll find a way to monetize it effectively? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, consider giving it a share and a big thumbs up. For similar stories, subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon. See you next time. Until then, bye.